Hi Flosstube, it's Karen, recovering monogamous stitcher. I am back with Flosstube video number 39. Today is Sunday, March 3rd, 2024. And welcome if you're returning. I'm so happy to have you back, my loyal subscribers and commenters. I love it. I love this virtual community. And if you're new here, whether you've stumbled on my video, it popped up in your feed, or you heard somebody recommend me, you're very welcome. I hope you see something you like and that you will subscribe and like the video and plan to come back again. My normal stitching or my normal Flosstube rotation is 2 weeks, and my loyal subscribers will know you're late. Not that I thought anyone was, looking at their watch on Friday and saying, where is that video? Anyway, I am 2 days late. Mea culpa, mea culpa. It's been very busy around here. I keep looking down because I have my notes on my computer, my laptop, so sorry. I had in this 2 weeks since my last video, I had 4 days with no stitching. Husband and I participated in 3 shuffleboard tournaments in 1 week. That's 2 tournaments too many, just so you know. We had an open house yesterday, so we had to vacate the premises for several hours, and fingers crossed, we'll see what happens from that. So that's my catching up, and I have lots of stuff to show, finishes and tiny little bit of haul, but and my new plans. So, okay, the first thing I stitched on after my last video was Prairie Schooler Santa 2021, which I stitched for Sherry, Colorado Cross Stitcher, for 2024 Winter Stitch Camp. And I got that finished. I posted that on Instagram. So that was a finish, got that done in time, in plenty of time actually. I think it was a week before the deadline. So that's done. I now have 9 completed Prairie Schooler Santas to be fully finished. That won't happen until I'm back in Kentucky. This fabric has 5. And then this one has 4. You see, I turned it whichever way was convenient to me when I stitched. So I will have to have a finishing Friday palooza, get those done when I'm back in Kentucky. I have the backing fabric, so it'll all, if I have enough for all 9 of these, the backs of all of the ornaments that are going to my daughter will all match. These are all stitched on 18 count Putty Khaki Davos, which, if you can see the weave, it's stitched over 1. So I use Jean Farish's method for stitching over 1, so the thread doesn't get, how it can slide underneath the thread if you're stitching over 1. And it works out very well. And I use 2 strands of DMC floss, and I trust Prairie Schooler's floss colors choices. Except this is the first time I was a little disappointed. And I mentioned last time, I thought the color for that fox, and it's definitely a fox, look at that tail. I thought the color for that fox was not quite as red as I would like. And then when I got to the raccoon, I said, if I had looked really and thought about it, I would have put that color on the fox and that color on the raccoon. But anyway, I just went with Prairie Schooler's colors because they always look nice and they always coordinate. But that was one thing, that was the first time I think I thought, oh, I would have done something different with that. Okay, and my big finish, you know what this is. If you've been following, you know what this is. Maria. Maria is done. Oh, that was a long, long haul getting her done. Okay, stand up. So this is the last section I worked on, this last 3rd panel part. It was close last time, I think, but she was over a year. Some interesting little motifs in there. And I don't know what the deal is with the 10, and one's an I and one's a numeral, so I don't know, 10 or IO, or I don't know what that's about. Unless she was 10 years old and she did that, I don't know. But the date on it is 1837. And of course we have our flying monkeys down here. That still cracks me up. I love that, the flying monkeys. I'm always going to think that when I look at this, and I'm going to look for the flying monkeys. But lots of traditional motifs on this, chairs and flower pots and birds. And she used a variety of borders. Every little section had a different border design, and then it was divided with numbers. I think it goes up 1 through 14 or something, the numbers that go around the outside. And this, of course, is a Hands Across the Sea pattern. And I used it for my hats first week of the month sale. And now that this is done, I'm going to have to come up with something else that's hats, but I don't have anything in the immediate future to put my hand on. I'll talk about that when I get to future plans. So that was a big finish. That was over a year in making, and so she's done. That was 56 count cream linen from Zweigart, and that was my first time stitching on 56 count, and I used Soie Surfine number 2523. It's a nice silk to stitch with. 56 is a challenge to me. It's slow going, but my magnifier, you know, I can see, but it's just, to me, it's slow going. So that's Maria. She's done. And I have a new start. For my birthday start this year, I've been wanting to start this for a long time. The Smith sampler from the Scarlett house. I've been watching Sarah at Sarah's Stitchy Spot working on this. Many others are, and I'm sorry, I need to take notes when I watch Flosstube, but I'm usually stitching, so I don't write things down, and I don't remember all the people I've seen working on it or who've just finished it, but it's a lovely sampler. So I started that on my birthday. I am using Vicky Clayton silks, and they're spools. And I have them in this spool holder that I got from Amazon. I know I had the link on an earlier video. I will try to remember to put it in the notes below. It works great for these extra big spools. And Vicky Clayton silks are 6 strands. So you cut a length and then you have 6 different strands, much like DMC. I love working with these silks. Oops, let me get my conversion sheet back in here. I loved working with these silks. I wasn't finding knotting to be an issue at all. They were just lovely to work with. I had 2 stitching days, well, really a stitching day and a partial stitching day, and this is what I completed so far. Starting with that border, I'll get down both sides a little bit, and then I'll start working on the motifs from the top down. And I'm most anxious to work on that swan. I love that swan. That's what I think the first thing that attracted me to this sampler was the swan, so I'll be anxious to get to that. Now here, a little discussion about Smith. Now Sherry, Colorado cross stitcher, did something else in that. She chose to do geometric designs. And when I was on the Zoom with Stitch Friends from StitchCon, Christine said, and Christine has finished this, and she said in that section where it says Smith, maybe I should take this out. The basket where it's Smith, around the letters and around the letters are 1/1. And then the remainder of the white around the basket, filling in that basket, is over 2. And she said when she, looking at it closely, she has done, had second thoughts. Should I have just done it all over 1? Does it look funny? It's just on the wall. Certainly it's not noticeable. So I'm thinking about that. And I think I will do the 1/1 when I get down there, and then think, now do I want to do the rest of that? Fill it in 1/1, or am I over it? So I'll see. But I was really glad that call came right when I was starting it. So it raised my awareness of that, and I looked at the pattern, and yes, that's what it has. So I'll see. I'll think about it and see when I get there. I'm stitching this on 40 count cottage stone from Color and Cotton, and I'm absolutely copying Sarah at Sarah's Stitchy Spot. Sarah is using the same fabric, except she's using 36 count and I'm using 40. I trust hers. Hers looks beautiful. And if she's already figured it out, why don't I just save my brain power and not even think about it? Just copy her. So that's what I'm doing. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. Okay, then I finished Maria, and I was really ready for a break from the tiny. So I pulled out, I could have gone back to Dancer. I had worked on that recently. You saw that in the last video. But I noticed Strawberry Bird, and I've not touched that for a while. So I pulled that one out. You've heard me talk about this before. Daughter saw it. I did a kit parade, and daughter saw it and said she liked it. So I pulled it out and got it going. And it's been kind of languishing. I've been working on those big, Red Deer and Maria, and it hasn't been touched for a while. So I pulled it out, spent a couple days on that. And yes, I left it in the hoop. Sorry, I normally don't do that, but I did. I had this part finished, the pot and this part. I had not done the flower, so now I've done the flower. I've outlined the other two big flowers, and I've done all of the green vines and outlines of the leaves, and I've just started the second bird. That was a couple days, and it goes relatively fast. This is stitched on 40 count platinum linen by Zweigart, which I noticed when I was stitching it. I really liked it. It's not an even weave, but it doesn't have the extreme differences between fat threads and super thin threads, when you're counting over 2. It's more even. There are no big slubs in it. And none of those skinny little threads that you think, anyway, that are hard to count. So anyway, I'm loving the fabric. It's all DMC. She had recommended 3 over dyes, but gave DMC alternates, and I'm just using all DMC. This is from the Blue Flower, Janine McGowan. Very sweet pattern, very nice. Okay, now one thing I wanted to show you I did a finish. So I'm going to show you what I've done. So this is my book number 4. I've shown these books before. Cross Stitch Journal, book number 4. I finished Maria, so I put the finish date there. Then I go to the table of contents and put the finish date in the list. And you can see this book holds 50 projects. This was the last one to be finished in this whole book. So every single one now has a finish date. So I'm done with this book. So to find out what my next oldest whip is, I go to the next book because everything is listed in numerical order in the table of contents. And my next oldest whip is Mason Jar Lineup. I'll show that again. I'll show that again in a little bit. So that's now going to be my focus piece, and will get 7 days a month stitching, and it will remain my focus piece until it is finished, so it does not languish and I don't fall out of love with it. So that's that. Haul, tiny little bit of haul, but good stuff nonetheless. If I can get it over here without dumping it. Okay. I saw some Flosstube show this. It's a free chart from Just Stitching Along. Now, ignore the colors. My printer is running out of color, so it's a funny print color. But Miss Mary Berger, 1859. It's it's free. It's got the things I like. It says little alphabet, little bit of motifs. Very nice. So it's a free chart. I picked that up. I have no immediate plans for it, but I did print it off. Again, that's from Just Stitching Along on their website. And I wish I could tell you what Flosstuber I saw recommend that. Okay, now. Okay, I can't show you. I'm recording on my phone. I have taken a picture to show. And let me see if I can get it on my laptop. Yeah. Okay, can I make it big? Probably not, because I don't know how to do these things. Okay. Catherine, Adriana, Leunissen, or something like that. It's a Dutch sampler. It's from 1884 Stitchery. I have this pattern. I got the PDF download, and it's at home in Kentucky. But watching Emily C, Eclectic Possessions. I love watching her channel, her stitching. She has such a wide variety of projects, and I just love it. And I really trust her color sense. And she has shared on her LinkedIn or something. But anyway, it's linked from her YouTube video. She did a DMC color conversion. The pattern calls for all DMC, but she converted some of the colors to make them more to her liking, and I really trust her. So I did a Hobby Lobby shopping trip there, and I got the DMCs for CAL. For one, I've been kind of watching her site. She said she was going to share her conversion, and I'd watched, and I said, I don't see that. Adriana Leunissen or something. Well, it was CAL in her list of things that she shares. So anyway, so I have the conversion, and I'll have the patterns at home, and I think I have a fabric I can use for it. So that'll be coming up sometime soon. So that's the extent of my haul. Now my plans. Okay, so I have a new focus piece. That's the first plan. My focus piece is Mason Jar Lineup, which is a dimensions kit. I've shown this before, of course. And I bought it thinking that it would be a good travel piece because it's on 14 count Aida. I thought I'd be able to, see it very well, and it should be great to travel with. Well, it's not so great to travel with because it has so many colors. So many colors. Look at all those threads. And each color has a symbol. And then some of the stitches are combinations of one strand of one color, one strand of another color. So each of those combinations has a different symbol. And it's just a lot. So I have a small little start on it. So, but now it's going to be my focus piece, so I'm going to get going on it. I owe it 7 days in March, and it will remain in my rotation 7 days every month until it is done. Okay, just that one. Now, the next part of my plans is I need a red sampler because I finished Maria. She was my red sampler. So let me show you some of the choices and what I decided on. And in anticipation, when we came down this time, I knew I would be coming to the end of Maria, so I grabbed some things I had in red, which could be my red samplers. And one that I chose to bring is ready to go. It's Peaceful Kingdom. When the queen is happy, there is peace in the kingdom. And I'm thinking of doing it with DMC 115, which is a variegated thread. Can you see the variegation in there? I thought that would be pretty. Anyway, that's in the project bag, ready to go. And I have the fabric. I have a 40 count ivory linen in there. But I decided not to do that one yet. I will. I also brought with me from Brenda Gervais, Keeper of the Pins, all these cute little smalls. I've seen people all over Instagram and Flosstube who have stitched these and completed them. And in fact, in this bag, I have other tomato patterns. And I have my cuts of fabric in there. So I could have done that one, but I passed on that one. The one ultimately I decided to do for my red sampler this time is Pennsylvania Dutch Tomato Pin Keep from Brenda Gervais. And I got it directly from her, so I have the kit. I have the fabric for the top. I have the wool there for the leaves on the top. And the wooden piece, which I have to paint, but I have the wooden piece, the raw wooden piece. So that's going to be my next red sampler. It's time to do some smaller things. I'm looking at my list of things ahead, and of course, the dimensions kit has hardly been started, so that's going to be a long haul. And last year I kind of got in a trap where I had all these big things going and I didn't get things finished, and it was feeling like a bit of a slog. So I'm going to be throwing in some smaller things so I can get them I'm looking at my note here, so I can get them done. The next thing I need to work on is Forget Me Not. I owe that 5 days. I didn't even touch it in February. I got going on Red Deer Sampler and Maria, and Forget-Me-Not just didn't get into my hands. So I owe that one 5 days this month. And I'm also going to be going back to Anne Borat. I have that wonderful book of the Montenegrin stitch, Autopsy, Exhumed. And I've not had a chance to dive into that, but I will be doing that. And I have some other choices. Strawberry Bird I could finish off, Dancer I can finish off, and I might do a new start. So if I have 7 days for the focus piece, 3 days for a red sampler, 5 days for Forget-Me-Not, some time I'm going to put into Anne Borat, and I may still have time to do some of those other things. So that's my plans going forward. And that's it for today. We had an open house yesterday, so fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. And the weather is getting really nice in Florida now. We're starting to have some quite warmer days, even though today was rainy this morning, so it's darker here and cloudier. But anyway, I will get back on my 2-week rotation. My next Flosstube is scheduled for November, for March 15. And I have a reminder, if you're a stitcher in the Lakeland, Florida area, on Saturday, March 16, 9 o'clock, some stitchers will be meeting together at the Panera on South Florida Avenue in Lakeland. And all cross stitchers, you're welcome to come, and we'd like to get acquainted. And they have a nice little group. Actually, there are a couple stitching groups down here, so some of them have come from other groups. So we can advertise to those people who are here in Lakeland options and places you can go to get together for stitching. So looking forward to that. I've had a couple Zooms. I had Zoom with my StitchCon friends. I had a Zoom with my Central Kentucky friends. That's always fun to stay in touch, even if we're not in the same room. It's always fun. So, Flosstube, happy stitching. I'll be back in a couple weeks, and have happy stitching. Bye-bye.